can certainly go around the screen and let everybody introduce themselves. So obviously you'll be familiar. Evening, everybody. Welcome to the final Patchwork Challenge for 2023 with the final tables for this year. We've also got a number of people on the screen today. You'll be familiar with James and Ryan, but I shall allow Jacob and David to introduce themselves. So Jacob first.
Hello, I'm Jacob Spinks. I patch Spurn Bird Observatory in the old recording area. I've been here since about 2018.
Okay, and David?
David Roche, Papa Westray, Orkney, not Shetland. Since 2016, mostly on and off, but here sort of permanently since 2019. This is to patch.
Okay, we can get into the original Spurn area and the not part of Shetland bit when we come to the specific sections. Okay, so again, welcome to the final one for 2023. So next slide, James, bit of the running order as per usual. So Jacob will be taking us through his Spurn year. Phenomenal year, I have to say, and also talking a little bit about maybe the area, spoilt for choice around the Spurn area, about exactly how to choose within a 3 kilometre space. So it'll be interesting to hear about that. We'll then move on to a bit of the best birds for 2023 and a couple of the best sightings of December. Quiet month overall, but there's certainly a couple of really good sightings in there. Hit some mini leagues, and then we'll move on to David, talk a little bit about Papa up there, and then more mini leagues. Finally, a bit of patch gold, some of the best of 2023. Couple of record shots, which were sort of classic ones from the year. Final mini leagues, and then some top 10s, the vital top 10s for the end of 2023. Where did you end up? And finally, February predictions for 2024, which once again I've not thought about, but I've given everybody on this call a bit of time to think about what they might be predicting for February.
Thanks, Pete. Just before we get into it, can I just quickly say, if everyone could like and subscribe to the Patchwork Challenge YouTube channel, that'd be really useful for us, and hit the notification bell for getting the videos when they first come out.
Okay, so we're handing over to Jacob. I think, Jacob, you really handily at the end of the year summed up your Spurn year, which is very, very useful in terms of being able to pick out your highlights. So thank you for that. And over to you, really. I guess you're summing it up there nicely, and maybe a little bit of your recording area there.
So yeah, so the year sort of started off quite slowly in January, February, obviously, like, you know, as it does on Spurn particularly. But like by end of March, I'd a few bits started coming through, and I'd found a Dartford warbler down the point, pretty much just where that picture's taken, just like where the bit of concrete is at the bottom. That's where the Dartford warbler were, and that was the first for East Yorkshire. So I'm like, really pleased with that. I could have done some bonus points, but didn't need them in the end, really. So it's all right. But yeah, so that was a first for East Yorkshire, and obviously first for Spurn. So really pleased with that one. And then
I seem to remember us discussing that at length, actually, that Dartford warbler. I think on the pod that month we talked about it. I think controversially I put it above a inland ringbill gull as bird of the month, but I think we did discuss bonus points. I can't remember what the conclusion was there.
I don't remember hearing about it, if there were, but yeah.
I think the conclusion was probably Spurn gets too many points anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought I heard, was Spurn gets too many points anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. It didn't take any of the shine off it. It was fine. I was still really pleased with it. And then April sort of came along, and right in March we had all the Alpine Swifts on. Obviously that was pretty mental. I think I saw 3 or 4, maybe a 5th. I can't, 3 or 4, and then like a possible went south, but it was like already gone past us by the time we got onto it. So yeah, like so many Alpine Swifts in that bit. But then, like, my highlight was in April. My highlight was green woodpecker, because I wanted one of them here for absolutely ages.
Oh, ace!
And so
difficult.
Yeah, that was a pretty mental bird. It just sat on a telegraph pole next to us as well, Megan. But also had a Leach's petrel in April, which was only the 4th Spurn one in spring, so that was pretty ridiculous as well. And then obviously May came around, which is when I had that great snipe, which is in the top right of that picture. Which was that
was that your find, Jacob?
Sorry.
Was that your find?
Yeah, I found that. Yeah. So So what the story behind that is, I was showing someone from Sheffield Uni, I think he was a lecturer or professor or something, and Paul Willoughby handed him over to me and said, "Oh, this is Jacob. He's now going to go find something really rare for you." And I sort of said, "No, I won't, because it's me," sort of thing. And then 20 minutes later, that flew in and landed in front of me, and I was like, "Okay, that'll do." So yeah, that was. And then I sort of collapsed on the floor when it walked out in front of the crowd, and I was just like, "What the hell has just gone on?"
And how much did you pay for it to be released at that point?
Yeah, exactly. Like Rob, who was patching here, he was fuming. He didn't come and see it for a couple of hours because he was just like, I can't believe he done this to me. Like 15 points up, just from that one bird, and he was absolutely livid. And he saw 5 from it, but like he didn't get the extra 10. But, oh well.
So I like to see good competition on patch and actual grief between the birders.
Oh yeah, me and Rob have had a right year. It's been good fun. He always knew that I was gonna do better than him because he's busy. He's busy at a desk most of the time. And to be fair to him, he gets out when he can, and he saw lots, but he can't be out all the time, which is what I was like all the time. So yeah. Anyway, that was pretty mental, and as I collapsed on that one. Yeah, and then also for, like, a couple of days before that great snipe, actually, I controversially found a green-winged teal on Kilmsey wetlands. I didn't realise that someone had been there before me and seen it and then left, because I got there at 4:45 thinking no one's going to have been there before me because it's 4:45 in the morning. And then he'd seen it at 4 o'clock in the half light, left, tried to put nose out, couldn't, and then I go and find it. And so that was a bit of a. But I still had it because I didn't know he'd seen it.
Use ignorance. We can count it.
Exactly. I did. Don't worry. It's on my finds list now. Yeah. And then June was classic, really. Classic drift stuff like marsh warblers, icky, rose finch. But ringneck duck was a pretty mental. I didn't find it, but like it was on Kilmsey wetlands, where the green-winged teal was.
Nice.
And then July was pretty slow, as you'd expect. I think I only had a couple of ticks, but one of them was storm petrel, and they were the first ones that had been ringed at Spurn since 2015. So I was pretty pleased with that, to catch those. And then August was alright. Like a nutmeg quail was on night shift at the Turn Connie. That was probably the most weird one. And Colin Bushell found a Kentish plover, which was quite, it was really nice. September, like obviously picking up big time at this point. Highlight was definitely Great Shearwater, showing really ridiculously well at Megfest off Bluebell. But then there was like lots of passage already going. Like I had some like ridiculous September passage Vismeg. We're like tens of thousands of metapipits. I think I had like 40,000 mippets in a month and things like that.
Yeah, I think I was upwind of you 1 or 2 of those days, and I was getting a fifth of the count that you guys were getting. But absolutely fantastic, and it was really good to see. Like they were getting them a Hummingbee, and then I was getting them, and then they were further south, and then seeing them go through to yourself, and then obviously smaller numbers through into Lincolnshire and beyond as well. So, really, really interesting. Good. Obviously, we know Spurn, and particularly at the Narrows, and at Numpties, it really concentrates it through there. So fantastic to see. Was it a new record count you set for Spurn on the Mippets, or was it?
No, it was like, I think it was 15,000 was the highest I got, but the highest for Spurn's 21 or 22,000 in a day.
Okay, yeah.
But like it was really good numbers. It was consistently good numbers as well. I think I had 3 days of over 10,000, which is really good.
Balmy, absolutely balmy.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like the Vismeg this autumn was pretty ridiculous. Like stupid numbers of goldfinch and things like that going through, and chaffinches in the spring were like mental. I think I had 7,000 chaffinch in the spring, which was like, I think it might have been a new high spring total for Spurn.
That's really cool. It's interesting because when I used to live in East Norfolk, late March was one of my favourite times because of chaffinch migration. I'd get the first couple hours of light, I'd get 3,000 going through, past my house, which is right on the coast, and that'd be over like 3 days. You'd get about 6,000-7,000 going through.
Mhm.
But they wouldn't be further north. They must be must have been cut in the corner and things like that. So not many other people were getting them. So it was but yeah, it was always one of the highlights of my time on the East Coast.
Yeah, we never it's pretty unprecedented. That's what number of chaffinch in spring here, or any time of year really. I think it was just because we had like consistent southwesterly winds at the right time, and normally we wouldn't get that. And we had it for like a week or two. It just seemed to funnel the birds here, and we actually got them for once. So yeah, it was really cool. I think the best day I had was 2,500, and they were like flying along. It was pouring with rain, and they were just coming along at head height in flocks of a few hundred at a go, and it was just like, what the hell? I watching them go across the breach. It was pretty stunning. Andy Bunting's got some video on Twitter if people want to find it.
It's what Spurn does so well. I think the next slide's got a few of those kind of shots of Vismig.
Yeah.
I think you posted on Twitter, didn't you, sort of about 6 of your Trek Talent best days, and some superb reading.
Yeah, that's all I specialise in really is Vismig, and I just spend like hours each day at numpties when I can, especially when it's like when stuff's passing, just don't leave really. It's just great, when you're seeing stuff actually moving and coming in off the sea or going south, you know it's going somewhere, and it's just pretty mega. I love it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. And Spurn's obviously the best place. Well, one of the best places for it. Like, I just love it. It's just, yeah. The fact I can just step outside from my front door and just see all that going on whenever I want to in the spring or autumn just makes it all worthwhile, really, doesn't it? And it's just great. I just love the Vismig.
Super. Did you have any particular highlights away from the Vismig in the autumn then?
So in the autumn, there was loads of stuff. But yeah, so that red eye video was pretty it was great because I was stood at Numpties Vismiggin when Sarah pulled out the net 20 feet from me, so I was slightly annoyed that I didn't see it. I was craft with it, and she'll want me to tell a tale where I was just at Numpties, she just screams, "Jacob, red eye very in the net," and I run around to her and I go, "Sarah, that's a black cap." That's because she's already taken out, put it in a bag, and I was like, "Why are you shouting me for a black cap for?" And I got really confused, and then my head fell off again. But yeah, it was pretty. That was class. They always bamboozle me to Yanks on East Coast, like just thinking, how's it got there? But yeah, anyway, the rest of the autumn, that red eye video in the morning, then me and Charlotte went down the point in the afternoon and found all and bunting. That was nice. And then rough leg buzzard from Caravan, and then Arctic red paw in the hand and Pallet Swift on the same day. That was pretty cool late in October. And then November was really poor. I've never had November that poor ever. I had one Patchwork Challenge tick all month. That was a grey foul. And that was the last one of the year.
Yeah, back end of the year was awful round here. I couldn't motivate myself to get out because it was just blasting storms, but from the southwest and heavy rain. So I don't know if you found, obviously I know you'll have been out a lot more than me, but if you found that was the same sort of experience where there just weren't birds and it was really hard to do any birding. Yeah,
it was just difficult. It was just hard to motivate yourself because there was just not a lot happening. And it was funny because even myself was saying it's going to be a really good late autumn because of the things that are erupting, like mealy red poles, waxwings. I thought maybe it's going to like rough leg buzzard seems to be coming through a bit. I thought it might continue a bit longer than it normally does, and it's stopped way earlier than it was in my head. It was meant to.
A strange autumn in the east. It felt like we had very few easterlies. There was a lot of Yanks obviously happening on the west coast. Flamborough seemed to go mad at one point, and then nowhere outside of Flamborough seemed to be getting the same results. So it did seem like a really odd autumn. But then you've got a phenomenal score considering the autumn was not a classic autumn.
But Spurn did really well at the year list. I can't remember what it was exactly. I think it was in the 260s for Spurn. So I actually missed. I've written down all the species that I missed in my area, in my Patchwork Challenge area, and I missed 17. So I could have got a lot better score than I did.
I'm not having this. You can't do better than you've done.
You can't get perfection.
Yeah.
because I was 20 foot away from sitting up on sand. That was a kick in teeth.
Oof.
Oh,
That'd be
see,
a-
that
I mean, that's
stings.
that's a challenge for next year, this year, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't peak too early.
So what's the most obvious omission in that 17?
Right. Well, if there's loads. There's like wryneck, wood warbler, sabskull, tawny owl, black-throated diver, red-breasted fly. There's quite a few sort of regular drift migrants or stuff like that you would get here that just didn't turn up this autumn, or that I just didn't bump into. There was a couple of wrynecks in the area, but I tried to catch up with them and just couldn't. There was a wood warbler that hung around, but I couldn't catch up with that. Yeah, so quite a few bits. I think I would have got like an extra 20 to 30 points, probably 30 points maybe if I saw all those. So it would have been a much better total than I got.
Just goes to illustrate, though, doesn't it? If regardless of what patch you've got, and whether you're out all day, every day of the year, you're still going to miss stuff, and you're still going to get to the end of the year with some missions.
There was two.
In
I was
a
away
normal year
for the
would be
first 2
odd.
weeks of May, and that's what really knocked me back because I missed like what did I miss? Like Sarin and red rump swallow and things like that. And what I wish I would have got in that couple of weeks. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I saw plenty in the end.
Oh, it's superb score, and I'm sure we'll find out later as we go through the top 10s. I'm pretty sure you're in the top 10, Jacob.
I mean, yeah.
Right. Shall we keep going?
Yeah, so best bird December, always a quiet month. We start scraping the barrel a little bit, but two very decent birds that have turned up. So Eastern Yellow Wagtail, Scott Reed and Isles of Scilly. And then there's an American Robin in Caithness. So I was digging around trying to find anything about that, and there's very little intel out there. So I just stuck one of my favourite books when I was a kid on there instead, as a picture rather than nick somebody's photo. So unlike Mr. Goody, who I have kind of nicked his photo for the Eastern Yellow Wag, so appreciated. But yes, in terms of that American Robin, not too much up there, but for Caithness, Julian Smith at St. John's Lock, around that area somewhere.
Very good.
And then just so go on, James. Go on.
I was saying, I can't imagine why you picked these ones.
What for the best birds 2023?
Yeah.
I wanted to chuck a bit of inland in there. Early in the year, we had that ringbill gull near Oldham, which I think you don't get that many ringbills these days. Definitely not in the middle of Oldham in Coldshaw. So I just wanted to kind of get that one in there. And I think that actually was the one that went up against Jacob's Dartford Warbler in that month early in the year in terms of best bird, and caused a bit of controversy when I picked yours, Jacob. And I think that caused a bit of a
Thank you very much.
bit of a debate on the pod. The second one, I think it's fairly obvious why I picked that one. Mark in his absence, bless him, who dipped that at Girdle Nest when Andrew got it. So yeah, just wanted to put that little sting in the tail for Mark. Sorry, Mark. And then finally the other one. So all three of these slightly odd choices for Hoopo for the best of the year, but that was one that John Bowler was one of our first guests this year that came on the pod. And we generally ask somebody to make a little bit of a wish list bird for his list. And we know John Bowler's got a phenomenal list on Tyree. And his wish list bird was a Hoopo, which he rocked up with merely days after the pod went out. So I've left that in just for our genius predictions on the pod, which we hope did follow up with every pod thereafter. People like coming up with the predictions and it coming true, and it's not happened all year since. But put it in there anyway for posterity and give people some hope.
And, I think
and now some proper best birds, yeah. So Scott Reed was on last month, of course. Cape May Warbler on Briar, fantastic bird, one that was found right at the tail end of that yank movement. We've got that black-winged kite. Belvide Birding's got the postie on there, and there's some fantastic pictures. But that was Tim on his patch in Norfolk that actually had that one. And then that red-headed bunting that was around for so long at Flamborough, a dull bird, generally speaking, I think. Caused a lot of debate. There's some really good discussions out there about that bird before it came through as a red-headed bunting, and lots of people saw that, but Andy Hood had that on his patch. And then we're going to some of the Yanks. As we know, we had an amazing autumn, and Bardsey turned up three of those humbugs, as it says in that corner. A whole raft of them coming in there. We had white-throated sparrow at Bardsey for Ed.
Was that was that on blimey, he had the black and white warblers and the
Oh,
white.
yeah.
I'd forgotten about the
Yeah.
white-throated sparrow.
He had an
Did he have
amazing
another?
run.
Did he have another sparrow on there as well?
Didn't he have a song sparrow?
Song sparrow.
Yeah, I think
that's
he
it.
did, yeah.
That's it. That's quite a haul. I'd sort of
Oh.
forgotten about the sparrows for him after the.
But they were in the spring, weren't they?
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
spring.
Yeah.
And then obviously Bruce's little haul.
Bruce, who had an insane few days on Barra. Those sort of all those American birds drifted across, and he certainly got in on the action. But I think it was 5 red-eye variants, was it? I think, and a Philadelphia.
Yep.
And
Maybe
just
Tennessees.
a couple of Tennessees, yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. Amazing year, and again some more of those. That oven bird on Rum, which is one of my personal favourites, just 'cause it's in the middle of the field. I just think sometimes the context in which you find a bird is part of it, and I think just scanning across an open field and seeing an oven bird sat in the middle of it is quite something. Yellow warbler, which was actually on Tyrese, that's John Bowler's, but he didn't find it, so it's very, very rare that John Bowler doesn't find his birds on Tyree. That was one it was found, but it stayed for him. So it's an 8 for Britain, and just an absolutely belting looking bird. And then really early in the year, back to Barra again with Bruce getting a harlequin on Barra. Never thought it'd actually happen. One of the early highlights.
Excellent, thanks, Pete.
Now, on to mini leagues.
I think we're going to get Ryan. Ryan's in danger of having to leave early because he's.
And I'd hate for him to miss out.
Yeah, so I think he's going to do the first mini league session. So over to you, Ryan.
Right, let's have a look. So the final league table for Estrine 10 kilometer, and it was a close one. And the highlights tells me that Adam Day moved into the first place in the last month, beating Irene Boston by 1 point. That is pretty impressive. But no highlights for December, other than moving to first place.
I thought I'd give you a pointer.
That's pretty good. Yeah. And I've just realised my battery is now just running low. So I'll run through these and then I'll be able to run from my charger. So Estuarine, the proper Estuarine League, 3K one. And probably no surprise, Frampton wins it with 263 points. Scott, the highlights at the end of the year. Probably more surprising is just how close Freeston got to it, 257 points. Very good. And then for Paul Sullivan and Paul Bowerman at Severnside, 254 points. So that's actually a pretty tight league. And in fact, Severnside had the most species, which is pretty good. Any other highlights there? Just Hen Harriers and Great North, proper winter highlights for patches. And then the bottom half of the table, not much to report there. Patch first, Potchard, and short-eared owl. Johnny, you need to work a bit harder. Coastal East England rather than East Anglia, 10K League. James Brown, I used to patch his patch at Hopton many years ago, so he wins it quite comfortably with 346 points. He's got a lot of different habitats in his patch when it's 10K. So yeah, I'm not surprised he's done well there. And then Owen Beaumont in second place at Salt Fleetby and Theedlethorpe. I have no idea where these places are. But yeah,
Lincolnshire.
Bit you drive past. 275 points. And then Jake Gearthy just shaming Suffolk with only 234 points. So yes, we'll move on to the real leagues.
Well, I realise I've got James Brown in twice there. He's bottom as well as top. There's definitely a copying error there.
We'll just put him bottom then.
Yeah.
Anyway, Coastal East England. I keep wanting to call it East Anglia. 3K League. Oh, and someone called Jacob has won the league quite comprehensively. 19 points ahead of yet another Spurn, Rob, who we heard before.
It's a really good performance from Rob as well, I have to say, in the context of what you were talking about, Jacob, about.
Yeah, he's did brilliantly.
Looks like
He's got more species than me, but that's because he's used a bigger area than I have. I've actually gone less than 3K, which is why he's got.
There you go. There you go.
And then the top 3 is rounded off. He tries to say it's not Spurn. He's trying to be posh and call it Kilnsey, but it's basically Spurn as well, isn't it? From Mark. 369 points. That's what happens when you don't call it Spurn. You lose
Do
like
you
50
know,
points.
Do you know,
I
Jacob,
don't
how
think I've ever
Mark's
seen
patch
Mark actually
differs?
cross the breach onto Spurn, so I don't think he can.
Oh,
cross
is he
Spurn.
not? He
Okay.
literally is just
Yeah.
thinking.
I think
he
he
not
just
just
does.
Spurn? Does he not just do his garden, doesn't he?
He pretty much does, yeah. That and a walk to the beach with his dogs every so often.
Anyway, yeah. So I mean, this league is pretty crazy. Nigel Lound at Gibraltar has always done well. He's always competed. 354 points. Trevor at Titchwell, 347. He had a couple ticks at in December, and yeah, Rob Little at Flamborough. I'm a little surprised he's quite so low, but maybe just not getting the same number of species at 332.
Yeah, I think he didn't do all of Flamborough in that he wasn't creative enough to get all the best bits in. I think he missed some of the south side. So I think previous attempts at Flamborough, like Martin Garner's, is definitely more creative back in the day. So yeah.
And then a couple of my old stomping grounds there that finished off the top 10. Sean at Winterton, so his patch used to overlap with my old patch. 198 species is pretty impressive. Probably a record, I'd imagine, for Winterton. And Tim Hodge, just up the road a bit, had a quiet end to the year, but speaking to them both, it sounded like autumn was pretty awful in Norfolk. They just barely moved after like August. So yeah.
Just a quick one to come in there. Mark Golly was desperately trying to fix his computer and get his scoring to us. So we would have been ready to go about a week ago, but we were trying to let Mark get his scoring. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to update. So he's gone through to the end of the spring, beginning of the summer, and then that's him done. So
yeah, I'd imagine he'd be up near the top 5.
Yeah.
He was doing really well at one point. He was pushing me at the start of the year.
Yeah.
So.
But I think the whole of Norfolk kind of struggled in autumn.
Points, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they all struggled in autumn compared to like Spurn and Flamborough. So yeah. But anyway, everyone on that page, pretty impressive scoring. And then the bottom half of the table, the middle third of the table, not much highlights there. Longtail duck, shore lark, snow bunting, proper winter bird in there from Pete Williams, whoever that is. And then the dregs of the league. I think a lot of these have not been updated for a while. So yeah, we'll move on. And Coastal Ireland, the monthly joke that Daniel Newton at RSPB Wow is bottom and top. Anyway, he finished the year with Green Wing Teal and Velvet Score, so a nice end to the year. And congratulations on winning the league. Coastal Scotland 10K. This was a close all year round, and it looks like American Robin, as he says, he's went from 3rd to 1st in December, which is pretty impressive. And it kind of puts into shade the Great Spotted Woodpecker from Rob. But anyway, it's like only 3 in that league, but it was a good tight league right to the end.
I think Rob's been heading that up all year, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, 15-point American Robins, and you win by 3 points.
That's how you do it, isn't it? I mean, Julian was level pretty much. Him and Nina were pretty much neck and neck, weren't they? I mean, they were all neck and neck throughout, but yeah, fantastic.
Right, Coastal Scotland, the real league, and Colin Davidson wins it with 224 points, just beating Julian Smith 220 with his American Robin, the only highlight, and that horrible red that I can't read. I'm just assuming it's American Robin. And then Mark Lewis. Oh, that is a bit of a shock. Mark Lewis ends up beating Andrew Whiteice to the Girdle Nest Trophy by 1 point.
How's he done that? Is it because he found that Caspian turn, isn't it?
Caspian turn.
And Hooper, yeah.
Well, it's a titanic battle for Girdle Nest.
Yeah, sets it up for next year.
Well,
so yeah, well done everyone there. Some good scores in Scotland.
Yeah.
Coastal South England 10K, and AB Rob Johns has won it by 4 points. Well done, Amy, beating off Bob Ford and Weymouth. And then Chris Townend at Budley Sultan came in 3rd. I mean, he's done well to come in third, considering he's other parts of the world for probably about 10 months of the year, so not too bad. And then coastal South England, the real leagues, and yeah, it looks like I've won it. I want City Watch for that.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
Good
Steve
see,
Waite,
yeah.
who had a great start to the year, and seems to have picked up a bit at the end, and then Amy rounds off the top three. I think it kind of shows if you have good sea watching, that's probably what's won it for me quite easily.
The new patch for you, isn't it, Ryan? So it's your first full year there, isn't it? So
Yeah,
set
and I'll
yourself
never
a target.
I'll never beat that score again. So
You need to wait for next La Nina and pray. Right.
Okay.
It looks like Ryan's battery's died there right at the end. Just before David comes in, just going to say the reason why there's not going to be a Titanic battle this year on Girdle Ness is Mark's moved out to West Aberdeen, so now he's looking for dippers, and he's given up on proper birding. And
yeah, it's proper sort of a bit more. Not on the coast, is it?
Right, so we'll hand over to David Roche to talk to us about his year on Pape.
Okay, so so it's a sort of selection of photos of, say, mainly just of kind of Pape itself, some of which I've taken today. This was taken a couple of weeks back when we had all that snow. This is taken, well, just from the front door. So this is looking south. So you've got the hostel, which is kind of next door to me. And then it's Treadwell Lock that you can see in there, which takes up, well, most of the kind of southern half of the island is taken up by that. And then you can kind of see the Heads of Ede, just kind of above the right hand building in the picture. So it's quite handy for sort of certainly the last few days, last couple of weeks. I can sort of set my scope up in the living room and sort of look out, and regularly getting glaucous gulls coming in and bathing, birds kind of resting in the fields as well, and just keep an eye on the tufted ducks and, well, anything that might be lurking out there. So that's actually, well, the building on the left is hostel, and then it's May Cottage at the end. So there's no one in there at the moment. It's been unoccupied for the last few years. That's where the white thrush was back in the autumn. Also, there was a Blythe's reed warbler in the spring, which I heard it singing. Just so I got back to the house, and it was singing in that patch of rows of ghosts, so that you can just see over the wall. And eventually kind of showed itself and showed quite nicely. And then it's doing it in weird order. All right, so that's basically inside the garden. So that's kind of on the east side of May Cottage. So it's kind of divided into two bits. So it's it's probably the best garden on the island in terms of kind of cover and shelter. It's quite handy, the fact that it's kind of flanked on all sides by that fuchsia. So even if you've got a fair amount of wind, it's pretty decent shelter. And the white thrush, I'd kind of walked around the back and kind of came through, and I was standing in the middle of the lawn there, and it just came up from in front of me underneath that fuchsia. And
wow,
it was a bit of a shock, to say the least. And I kind of left it to sort of do my shift in the shop, and then came back, and I literally crawled through on the ground, sort of hands and knees, and kind of sat down, tucked myself underneath the fuchsia behind that crocosmia, and just sat and waited, because I knew the only chance that I had of seeing it was going to be if it happened to come out and feed sort of underneath the bushes there. And I sat there, and about 10 minutes later, it this kind of blackbird just appears in the corner. I'm looking at that, and then out comes a white thrush next to it, and then yeah, it just sort of slowly makes its way sort of along the ground. Eventually ended up into sycamore. So I got eventually managed to get a single photo of it in there, and then yeah, it sort of made its way in, sort of disappeared, and it came back out again once, showed well for a second time, and then vanished. Yeah, I don't know. It obviously left the garden at some point, but yeah, it's one of those kind of, I'll admit, it's something that I'd thought about for here, and I'd had it in my mind just of the spot which was like where it was going to happen, and I think I'd kind of thought about here, but in a way I kind of hoped that it wouldn't be here, because I thought, you know, if there was one in there, it would just be a nightmare to actually see it. But thankfully, this one kind of worked out.
Incredible.
Is that garden your creation? So when you moved there, is it already there?
That was already there. I've got there's stuff in the works, which there's a photo. But this is just the other side of, well, this is just the other side of where I am. So where I'm based is, but it's just like the other side of those walls. So this is like the walled garden, what they call the walled garden at Holland. So this is where Sean Davis found the ovenbird that was here. We found that inside here, and there's not. I mean, basically, what you can see here is pretty much the cover that's here. A little bit the wall that's along the wall, that's along the road, but there's not a lot else. But the walls do give it, yeah, decent amount of shelter. And then this is just taken back in summer. This is the other garden that's kind of next to the road. Yeah, decent amount of cover. This is where the pine bunting first started off. This was back when this pond was pretty much dry. There was more or less no water in it, and it started off feeding just in there. I didn't have a clue what it was to start with, because I was standing here and it flew, and unfortunately I was looking against the light and it called, and it's like, oh, it's a yellowhammer, which is a good bird for here, but I could sort of see it looked like it had black and white on the head, and it's like, what the hell is this? And then it kind of flew, then kind of came back, and then yeah, sort of dropped down. So, oh, right, pine bunting.
That's a mind-blowing bird, and a really can be quite a tricky one in your mind as well. So fantastic.
It's not a species that ever remotely crossed my mind as being something that that I could find here. And then what it did, it basically spent most of its time where you've got sort of bars and silos that you can see. It spent most of its time just feeding, going in and out of the buildings. And yeah.
I remember the photo we used, I think, was on top of the roof of one of those buildings.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is kind of coming back down the road the other way. So this is stuff that I've planted. So it's a mix of, well, it's mostly alder and willows, and there's rowan, aspen, dog rose and dogwood in here as well. So you've got sycamores. This is a school. They're planting more trees the other side as well. So when it'll take a few years, but when that does grow up and establish, that'll really improve the amount of cover. This problem at the moment, it's kind of what's a bit like what Steve Dudley said when he was chatting to you guys. Yeah, by the time we get into October, even certainly by the middle of the month, these trees are pretty much bare. The leaves have more or less gone from them. So once they get to that stage, they're not gonna hold birds, and there's really very little. Certainly when you get to that sort of that stage of the autumn, it kind of feels very bare. So I was sort of hoping, yeah, if I could get a bit more cover established, and that would do the trick. And I've kind of dug all of this and I've seeded it with yellow rattle, just to try and kind of keep it open. So you've got some kind of ground, bare ground if you had some like an olive back pipit that's feeding. Yeah, just a chance to see anything there. And I collected a load of wild angelica as well, and I've spread that in there. So it's a bit of a Philos magnet. So yeah, it's a bit of an experiment, but hopefully that'll take. And if it does, that should do a good job.
Well, that sounds quite exciting. How long do you reckon it'll take to come to fruition then?
I mean, the order should grow fairly quickly. I mean, I put it in last year, but a lot of it just got, well, not a lot of it, quite a bit got munched by rabbits. But yeah, I put those tree guards around them. Yeah, end of the autumn. So yeah, I think the alder and the willow, hopefully, yeah, maybe like 4 or 5 years, something like that, you'd start to see a bit more of the rest of it. I should think be a bit slower, but yeah, it's pretty exciting.
It'd be nice and dynamic.
Yeah, and then this was taken today. So this is kind of heading north, just along the East Road. So sort of, yeah, wetland bit here. So this all kind of grows up in summer. You get all the iris in here, and there's another bit the other side. There's like decent corn, this black-headed gull, and there's common gulls in here. Sort of variable numbers of Arctic terns. Sandwich tern breed here. Normally it's it's often the only sort of regular breeding colony within Orkney. And yeah, good for waders, summer pairs, lapwing red-shank curlews, yeah, water rail, sedge warbler, bits like that in here as well. Just a bit further along, so there's not that much in the way of cover and such like elsewhere around the island. So it's just a patch of, it's a mix of mainly willows and birch and alder, just back of Southwick. And so yeah, there's a load of iris around it as well. I tend not to go through the stuff at Mayback in the previous photo just because there's so much of it, but in here you're kind of around the periphery of it at the edge. It kind of makes it easier to work, so I started going in there more. I've never seen grasshopper warbler on Pappy. That would be an island. It would be an island first, actually. So yeah, if I'm going to find one, that's probably going to be the spot where it'll eventually happen.
That sounds like your 2024 prediction.
Yeah. And this is an old photo. This is Northwick. Yeah, again on the east shore. Yeah, this is the best wader spot on the island. And then you got sort of Loch of the Tane, which is sort of the bit at the top. It's kind of tidal lock where the water kind of flows out as the tide drops. It's, get an idea from there. It's not very big at all, but it's good way to spot. And this was taken in, it's an old photo, but taken in spring, in May. And it's when it's like this is when it's best for waders. It's basically all the kelp that kind of builds up and piles up over the winter. When that starts to kind of break down, then get dragged out by the tide. Yeah, this is what all your dunlin, sandling, turnstone, ring plover. Yeah, big numbers that pass through in the spring, and this is what they're all feeding on.
Is this where you had your broad-billed and semi-P in the same picture?
Yeah, that was crazy. Interesting to see what you guys make of these. Now this is an old photo. This is a freakishly bizarre dunlin. I mean, yeah, incredibly long billed, long legged, kind of weird. I mean, yeah, all the wing coverts and everything is really worn, really abraded on it. I mean, you get an idea of the bill on there. I mean, it's far more like curly sand. And then
What are you thinking with that then? Something like Yakutensis or?
To be honest, I've not really looked into it. I've just kind of, I think we did. That was when Julian was still here. We sort of shared photos of them at the time. I'm pretty sure Mark Lewis has seen them actually.
Okay.
That's that one. And then that one, I mean, that gives a.
Cool. I mean, that is long-legged, isn't it? Yeah.
The legs are ridiculous. So, if anyone's got any ideas on that, and that'd be interesting to hear
obviously,
about.
Jane on the Wirral, one of her things is taking photos of odd-looking Dunlin, quite ruthless-looking Dunlin. I can't recall, and she's applied for bonus points on those in the past, and I think we said no because we don't know where the lines are, and it's all quite a blurry picture. But obviously, like phenotypically, when you're not looking at the plumage but just looking at the shape of the bird, that's an incredible looking thing.
I mean, that's just that's the first one. That's that bill. Yeah. So, but spring wader passage is probably one of my favourite things on here, certainly in the spring. Just seeing them in that environment and just that mix of colours that you get when everything's in summer plumage, I think it's brilliant. And quite often you'll see it where you'll get birds that you'll see them go, they'll sort of get up together, and you'll just see them going up and up and up and just away to the north, and that's it. That's them going on their way. That's just great thing to witness. Then this is moving north, kind of further still. So you've got the home of Pappy, which is sort of just off from the east shore. It's got the storm petrel breeds on there, and then this is looking down. So there's another bit of, I just about see it in the photo, but there's a decent patch of willows sort of outside the house there at Hundland. So that's where two-barred warbler found there in October 2016. Had Western Benellis, October 21. And then, you got this other, this is just nice and small, kind of isolated block of, again, mixed willow and birch. And then what you can see in the field here, this is kind of work that was done by the RSPB. So there's a natural grip kind of stream that flows down from the hill that kind of works its way through this field, and they basically dug kind of scrapes into it, just as a way of trying to improve it for breeding waders, which has done pretty well. So it's 5 pairs of red shank in there this year.
Nice.
A few lapwings, and it's I could stand here in the spring, and on a good day, panoramic views scanning around, I could count probably 20-25 drumming snipe in one go. Fantastic. And just displaying curlews in the spring as well. That's love that.
It's pretty good.
And then this is this is like the top end of the fields. This is where it goes onto the hill, like the North Hill. There's lots of stone dikes on Pappy. Most of them you can't actually kind of get to because they're sort of within fields that you can't really get to, but I wouldn't really bother because there's nothing there. But this is the one that's, I say, around the edge of the hill, so it's kind of the one that's on its own, the sort of furthest north, and it sort of goes all around the perimeter of that field. It feels rare, that's all I can say. I had a woodchat shrike along here one spring, same day as a red-footed falcon, which was pretty nuts. I can imagine some kind of rare chat, or I'll be honest, this is one of the spots where I kind of imagined flushing a white thrush actually.
It does look, it has that feel. Cyber thrush is sort of coming. That's
preferably a live one of those, please. this is my sea watching spot. This is up at the far end, sort of Mole Head. Yeah, just kind of tucked in against the rocks up there, far north end of the island. And then coming back down the west coast, it's probably my favourite bit of the island. So yeah, you get your sort of little geos and yeah, just rocky bits where it's kind of sheltered during an easterly wind. So this was taken today, but this geo that you can see here on the right end of the image, that's where this little chap was, May 2019, collared flycatcher. Unfortunately, it didn't hang around, but I at least managed to get photos of it, thankfully. And
it's incredible amongst that sea pink, doesn't it? Amongst the thrift, it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a proper bird in a proper setting.
Yeah, and then yeah, just the same bit, and again, just a bit an idea of kind of coastline. Yeah, bits like this. It's again sheltered out the wind. Yeah, and I'll never tire of seeing migrants in that setting. Doesn't matter whether it's a blue tail or a robin. It's just, yeah, it's what island birding is for me. It's just, yeah, there's a greenish warbler last autumn, which was kind of on the cliffs. Well, it's at the furthest bits you can see in the image there. And yeah, it's a nightjar from October 2020, again, which I sort of flushed. Yeah, flushed it kind of pretty close to 30. Thankfully, it just kind of fluttered a short distance and went down again. Yeah, that was the first island record for the nightjar.
Nice.
I think that's our last one for that. Yeah, I think it is. Oh no, it's not. I forgot this. Yeah, this was just this was a fantastic day. That was a couple of years ago, end of October. Just piles of field fares. 2,500, well, 2,400, I think I reckoned for the day.
Wow.
And they were just arriving in off northwest the whole time. And yeah, just piling through the islands, and yeah, just this big. I don't see much of that here, to be honest. Yeah, skylarks in the spring, get birds kind of passing. Other than that, I'm pretty much reliant on like thrush days.
That'll be familiar
So
to you, Jacob, won't it? With a Spurn thrush day, it's one of the best experiences I've ever had birding.
Yeah, exactly. We had a massive thrush day this year. It's class. It's like gone last year.
Yeah. So last bit from me. Right. Yeah. I did a Patchwork challenge poem for Burns Night just gone. So I'll say advanced apologies to Dave Parnaby. Why? Right. Patchwork challenge competition in 23, a new edition to challenge Barra and Tyree among the island mini league. An autumn, perfect storm of weather, the likes of which before we've never known. Within the winds first came with throat of orange, burning flame. A light on Skellig first begun, a hint of what was yet to come. Disbelief by now suspended. Breaking news of Stockholm Empid laid the seed but dealt the course of fate for Toby Phelps. Unprecedented scenes of Barra, where for years to come and ever after will tell of tales, the story goes, old flocks of red-eyed vireos. Fair Isle, where submissions late, to make amends I allocate this dainty greenish, might perhaps this make up for my 5-month lapse. Now, from these rules I must refrain, tales I must refrain, for rules which need to be explained. our chosen shape, some fat, some thin, non-disconnected, held within mapped boundaries. But please note the rule: not a spider's body with legs that sprawl. In square kilometres, 3's the limit. All species logged and scored within it. Points 1 to 5, but tell, how do you quantify and score their value? Well, a redshank 1, spotted 2, but to really see the score improve, one needs to find the scarce and rare, for which the rules by now declare. Rewards for finding such suffice, that 3-point greenish now scores twice. Though, alas, unlike the redback shrike, not long since found, West Dyke, my own greenish can't make the list, for I must detach birds outside my 3-square patch. Points raised again for those that find the vagrants of the rarest kind. The lucky few that can but dream of self-found megas score 15. Sandpiper peep with toe palmations, a cause for just congratulations. Broadbill sound of equal praise, but side by side, a sight to gaze upon together. Quickly goes your mind and sense of all composure. To keep the scoring system fair, a species common, elsewhere rare, hashtag back gold, can have its fate be judged and sealed in Judy's courtroom of appeal. Though common south across the firth, an Orkney coltit should be worth some bonus points. Last year our chance from Danish lands our way advance, eruption of an epic scale, but would our own patch gold prevail? On cliffs of Fair Isle first arrive, North Ron, not seen since 85. For us, a coltit yet to ever grace our island. Happy mega. Was it too much, we ask, to please, not share such joyous scenes as these? Our own submissions, votes outweighed. The stock doves failed to make the grade. The bird, for us, should be worth more than measly single 1-point score. But when differences are put aside, for right or wrong, unanimously all together must agree, for who among us dare dispute the glory of the patch gold coot? There you go.
That is excellent. Very, very well done.
Not the number of times I've read that, I've done that for out loud in head. Fine. I think because I could see the images. It's like,
yeah.
Shook me up. But there you go.
No, very well done, David. I can definitely make that flow in a lovely manner, and nobody will ever be aware. But fantastic effort.
Yeah, that's grand.
That. Yeah, take a swig, well deserved.
Absolutely. Right, shall I put the...
All right, follow that.
Yeah, quite. Well, that was fantastic, David. A fantastic trip round your patch, and also what an excellent piece of poetry, patchwork poetry for Burns Night for us. So we have we're off to coastal Wales for this second session. We'll try and rattle through, but Dave Astians has led from the front all the way, and he finishes in first place, leading Alex Jones by 35 points. And Alex he's hit his target on the 8th of December and narrowly sees off Peter Howlett, who was in third at Cardiff Bay. So in the Coastal Wales 10K League, Matt Bower has led for quite a while, and he Mark Hughes was in second and third. No highlights. So we go on to coastal West England. Jane wins this with 215 points, 151 species, which is an incredible haul out there. And Sean O'Hara follows with 174 points. And Stephen Dunstan updated his score quite late, but good to see his score there. And he finished with a scorpion and a long-tailed duck. Could I? Someone's just echoing. Can I just ask whoever it is? I think it's Jacob. Do you mind just going on silent? Cheers. Coastal West England, Pierre, last updated in April, so we'll gloss over that. And then Inland North 10K, we've got Toby Holmes at Red Mars Reservoir, one with 152 species. Joe Woods in Wakefield, 152 points, and then Joe Woods 137 points, and Pete Williams in third on 109. So well done to you three. Good work, Pete.
Yeah, it's my one notable inland patch with no water, but yeah, home.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. And then Inland North. Now this one we've had some discussion about. I've put the guys in at equal first. Well done to Duncan and Richard. So both on 195 points. Duncan has 154 species and Richard 148. So we've not split them there. However, and I know Ryan will have one opinion and Pete has the other opinion on whether it's better to have quality or better to have quantity. But we do have possibly something to swing the balance. And I think this is probably something we want to put out last minute decider. Purple Sandpiper in York, in the first for the Lower Derwent Valley in the York area. Is it worth a bonus point to decide the league? What do you reckon, Pete?
My gut feel is it is. I think there's a lot of people watch that Lower Derwent Valley. Some excellent birders that bird that area, and York Bird Club is very, very watched. So
Yeah.
It feels like to get sort of a first for that Lower Derwent Valley with the number of watchers they've got on that site.
Yeah,
Certainly feels like it's worth a shout.
I agree. Anyone else got any opinions? Does anyone else want to come in?
I'd say, yeah, I think that should be bonus point for that. It's an inland bird anywhere, Purple Sands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely
Yeah,
agree.
I think it's.
with that one.
I think put it out to Twitter, and then that will decide. If Twitter decides no, what is the decision?
Well, should we go for a three-way poll? One would be one bonus point. Another would be most species wins anyway, and the third option would be best point per bird. Or we could have a fourth option of just joint first.
Yeah.
If it's one bonus point, that excludes the next argument anyway.
It does, but
we
people
ought
can
to
cheat.
set a precedent, shouldn't we? Because we haven't got a rule about whether it's points per bird. So we should have a poll on that anyway. So that
this will set the precedent, won't it? Yeah.
Surely it should be points per bird, because the whole point of Patchwork Challenge is we're trying to encourage people to find things. But you're trying to get more points per bird, not more species. Because technically, the person with more species might have twitched more, which is not what we.
Then arguably, the more time you spend in the field, the more species you'll rack up as well. It's about
but then you
spending
should be
time on
finding
patch.
more.
This is a
So
very long
more
podcast
points.
already, and I feel that we should stick this up to Twitter to stop you two
I
rattling
think
on.
you might be right. I'm not sure Ryan and I agree.
Very well done to Duncan and Richard, who for now are joint winners, but we'll have an answer down the way. And well done also to Mark Langston at Oldmoor on 185 points, not far behind. Who's done a great job. Then in terms of highlights, obviously Duncan got Waxwing and Purple Sand this month, and then Phil Woolen, Mollington in Cheshire had Lesser Spotted Woodpecker, which is a great record. And then this is quite a big mini league, so second part with Pete in. Nothing new there. And also, I know there's been some movement in these bits and pieces, so people are still putting scores in. Well, some people. And then we go to Inland Scotland 10K. So Mike Hodgkin at Pennycook has won with 150 points from Chris Pendlebury at Dunblane and the Allen Water. And he narrowly pips George Dunbar, who finishes third with the west part of Loch Leven. No bonus points no highlights this month. And then in Inland Scotland, it's always been a bit of a shootout between Luke Wake and Zul Bhatia. So Luke's won that with 140 points at Loch Lomond, beating Zul at Loch Winnock, who finished on 129 points, and Chris Pendlebury on 115. Highlights this month have been a couple of Woodcock for Lee Hesp at Strathire. And then we move into Patch Gold. So I'll hand back over to Peter.
Yeah, so again, this is just a bit of a reminder of 2023, really, with this being the last one for that year. So just a reminder about hashtag Patch Gold. Keep using it for any birds that you find on patch that are common elsewhere, but not on your patch. That tends to be the theme for it. And as we've had a nice time reminder about coots, there's two there. So one for on Tyree, and another one there at for Sean at Winterjune. So very nice, and twice as rare as Pallid Harrier on patch for coot there. So nice reminder about that. I think early in the year we had Rob's lovely Orca versus a mute swan, and just how unique some patches can be in terms of what variety you might get on a certain day and what the highlights turn out to be. And then Tim Jones at Lundy, who had the again mute swans passing by. So just some really nice reminders about sort of proper patch gold on some of the patches in 2023. Where's that come from? I have no idea, but another one again from Rob up in right up in Caithness there. A blue tit, and kindly arranging to sort parking out if it was to return.
Oh, very generous of him. Right.
And then finally some record shots again. They're coming up in a strange order, but there were three absolute classics in the year, so I just wanted to bring them back in. So Martin Elcott's in Devon is Little Gull. Fairly obvious from the picture.
Yeah. I think I could see it when I go cross-eyed.
Tim Farr at Sutton Bingham, who's been in this a long time, had 4 grey legs off the dam. Photographic evidence. I think we have to pretty much squint a little bit.
Yeah, if they crapped across his camera lens or something there.
With that, I can only think that's all it is. Right?
Yeah. And this.
And then finally, the one that really cracked me up at the start.
Yeah, this is my absolute favourite.
The pair of gargly on the Don. So yeah, good luck if you can find them in there. But
I mean that's outstanding. Well done, Phil.
Can't beat a record shot.
Right, the home
All
straight
right.
nearly.
We are final session of mini leagues.
Go on to the harder stuff.
Okay, so starting off with Inland South 10K, so Hugh Venables at North Stowe down 254 points. Big lead. He's had that for a while, and he's continued that through. Marston for Joe Woodman, 186 points. Glenn Pascoe in the top 3. No highlights in December. Tends to be a fairly quiet month in inland sites. And then at the bottom of the table there, Inland South, and a number of patches, including some that haven't updated too much in the year. And then Inland South, this will be the 3K. So Sean Davis at Hamwall, 241 points. So really good score for an inland site. 153 species as well, which probably indicates really good points for bird for an inland area. And then we've got Drew Linus at Owsby Beach, Strumpshaw Fen as well. He's had some really good birds there in the year on 224, just pipping Ryan on 222 into 3rd place. And in terms of...
Sorry, I was just going to say he's got 37 more species and 2 more points.
Yes, that indicates not finding things as much, doesn't it? I guess there's a difference
there. Not 37,
there,
but yeah, 26 more species, 27 more species.
Yeah, I guess again, you get some places that are more birded where I suppose you don't find as much. Whereas I'm guessing Ryan doesn't have too many other people on patch.
That's confirmed. I think he's here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and a good few highlights actually in here for December. So we've got Side Chiff for Ryan, Cattle Egret. Obviously seeing a few of those now across sites right across the southern half of England. and that's for Peter Softly. Hugh Venables at North Stowe, we mentioned him earlier, but Black's Med start finally in December. And Jeff Wyatt at the Daisy Lock area, long overdue patch tick medical. And then a few other bits of Winter Fair like Head Harrier, Short-eared Owl, Firecrest. Patch tick Forster's term as the year highlight for Tim Farr at Sutton Bingham. That was one early in the year. So not a December bird, but yeah, fantastic bird for an inland site. And then Brian Headley at Trentport had a nice flock of 21 pintail, which was a site record. And then a number of others here, and just Neil Burt at the bottom, Barnow, Comigal, and Mute Swan exclamation mark with a patch gold, I'm guessing, for him there. Inland Site's a massive league, isn't it? Patch tick Tawny Owl for Tim Farr. Yeah, and then keep going.
Just slowly scrolling.
Yeah, people can pause at this point to find out where they finish for the year. Inland Wales, another one where we've got one person in the league, Johnny Price. So we've got two leagues where there's an ambition for 2024 to get somebody else in there to provide a bit of competition. Inland Wales and Coastal Island.
And he actually updated his score this month, so well done, Johnny.
Excellent. Winner. And then this is the 3K league for Inland Wales. So for Mark Hughes there winning over 100 points for a site in Inland Wales is actually a really good result. And Sean Sweeney and Terry Wells filling that one in.
I think that Sean Sweeney one's actually our Chester office from work. So
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I think
quite
Toby
a good office
Phelps
for 77 species, isn't it?
Well, Toby Phelps found most of those for him, I believe. So
Toby Phelps finds everything, doesn't he?
He does.
I like how you're brave enough to say that now. He's in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Islands 10K League. So some really big hitters in here. Scott Reed, this is the 10K League, so Islands League, 429 points, fantastic result. 211 species seen, and there's some real belters, and he was obviously on last month, going through a few of those. Vincent Stork, Patchwork Challenge Zone, Netherlands representative, 412 points, a topping 400 points there as well, which is obviously superb effort. 224 species, some really good points for bird totals in there too.
I do like the fact that their 10K league still didn't beat Jacob.
Yeah, quite.
Crazy.
Yeah, we'll come to that at the end, but it's absolutely true. Yeah, still
the
5
whole
points
of the
short.
Isles of Scilly did not beat Spurn.
Yeah, just the southern half of Spurn. Yeah, it's a really, really good point. Kevin Kelly, done Rossness in Shetland, 390 points, and some year highlights there. Just highlight rough leg buzzard, leeches, yellow warbler, Hudsonian godwit, all brilliant birds seemed in the 10K. John Bowler on Tyree with a snow goose, Bruce with some of his Barra highlights we've seen already, and then Steve, who's David's compadre on the other island, with 335 total. Again, points for bird on these are fantastic. And these had Cooney's Gull and Velvet Scoter, first island record of that, the additions. And knowing he only missed one species on the island all year is worth a mention. Then onto the Islands 3K League. Well done, David, top of that. 371 points, quite a margin at the top as well. Northern Bullfinch upgrade over new points.
That's a one-off, I think, for me for being up there. So, yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean it's a competitive league, so it's quite a performance to be that far ahead. So it's a bit of a challenge for everybody else in there for next year. Scott Reed for his 3K league, 341 with the Eastern Yellow Wag we've mentioned already, and a bit of patch gold grey lag goose. And then David Texel just outside at 325. And then in terms of highlights, so we've got Tyree with a carrion crow patch gold, one of those difficult island birds. Kevin Kelly's year highlights there for note. And Steve Dudley's there, like he says, no, he only missed one species all year, which was a common buzzard, which is really good performance. And then Hen Harry and Carrion Crow from Matt.
Not a lot doing there, so we'll just
move on. So the Netherlands 10K League. So Rob, 2 puffins in December was the one highlight in this league. But Rob and Arnold have been battling away, but Rob's won it by a distance there at 422. So again, similar species, but points for bird. Excellent point to bird for Rob at the top. And those two sort of running away with that 10K league there. And then this is the 3K league for the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. So Ben at the top, 279 points, 182 species. So latest of self-found goldeneye, Smew, Merlin, Buicks, and Crane. Some excellent winter stuff there. And then Rob in second place on 233. So Ben really getting a bit of a margin there. And then Maurice on 202, making up that top three. So again, some excellent scores, and worth mentioning, Netherlands breaking away this year in 2024 with a fantastic uptake there for their own league.
I think they've actually got more entrants in the Netherlands and Germany
I think
and
they
Belgium.
have.
Yeah. So obviously our entry is still open for 2024. So do get enrolled. If you have any questions or queries, do get in touch via Twitter, and we'll sort you out.
Absolutely. I think Netherlands. I think they've topped 200 now.
Well over.
250
Well
or
over.
something now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So challenge on UK. We need to get a few more patches entered.
I think we're at
All
about
right.
185. So here's the big
And then the
reveal.
all important, top
Yeah.
tens. Do you want to do it, James?
Okay, yeah, I can do it. So 10K league, Scott Reed wins on 429 points. As we've said, he's had a fantastic year on Silly. He's got all over the place, and he gave us a real good intro to his patch. And he's beat Rob on at Soccer Backer. That's definitely how you say it. Egmond and Z by 7 points. That's quite close, really. And then Vincent, they're in third place, and the three of them were a long way clear of Kevin in fourth. So some really, really big scores though in the 10K, all sort of Ireland or Ireland adjacent. Right. Then in the green top 10, no surprise that Jacob tops this. Last month, I made a complete hash of this and put everyone in there who wasn't green, but we've got it all right this month, hopefully. So well done to Jacob leading Rob, and then David squeaks into third place, beating out Mark Andrews at Kilnsey. So well done, David. And then the overall top 10 with our biggest score ever, 432 points. Well done, Jacob. Again, it's the same top three as the Green League. So congratulations, Jacob.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was I would say a long slog, but it wasn't. It was good fun. It was really good fun.
Oh, excellent. Well,
superb effort. I think it doesn't edge out Tim Jones's previous Spurn.
Yeah, I think Tim's previous record was about 410, something.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. 410, 420. I was aiming for anything above 420, really. So I'm really pleased to smash that.
Excellent. Are you back in this year, or are you having a rest?
I don't know what I'm doing yet this year. I have no idea where I could be. I could be here, or I could be anywhere else. I've just done an interview for Fair Out today, so who knows? I could be anywhere.
Well, we look forward to whatever
wherever
entry
I am,
it is.
I'll do it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Wherever I am, I'll do it.
And obviously, if Rob's in, he's in with a better shout this year anyway.
Yeah, Rob's doing it this year, I'm sure. So yeah, 100%. If I'm not here, he'll smash it.
Oh, fantastic. Very well done. Some top birds, some great effort, and obviously a real marathon. So well done on that one.
I would just like to say that if you can get into the top 10, if you go back, if you can get into the top 10 with less than 180 species, that's the real challenge.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure David will agree.
Is that the real winner, Ryan? Is it?
Absolutely.
I meant to say this. You tied up with Vincent. He's let you in there right at the end. Like we could have eliminated you from the top 10. I thought about just ignoring you there, but
you should have done.
Okay, so thank you all for getting this far. Just want to say, obviously, we've touched on the Dutch breakaway franchise. We've also got people in France getting involved. We've had interest from several other places, so it's really great to see Patchwork Challenge traveling further in 2024. I think we're going to have a Patchwork Challenge Day in France to soft launch that. But if you do want to get involved, if you're seeing this from further afield, do use these hashtags and do get in touch. So that's hashtag PWC 2024 for the UK competition, hashtag DPWC 2024 for the Netherlands, and hashtag Patch Gold for all those good bits and pieces. Right, we're going to have a quick go at predictions for 2024. We'll start with David. What have you got for us, David? What do you reckon is going to be the big thing for the competition and for yourself?
It's muted.
You need to unmute, David.
Always people I've lost as bird have always wanted to find here. Yeah, it's not on the island list. Yeah, it's an obvious kind of target.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's what I'd like. Yeah, there's various kind of silly things that aren't on the Pappy list, to say Gropper, never been Smew, Goshawk, Red Kite, Black Tern, Little E, Great Crested Grebe. Any of those would be new for here.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
And for February in the competition, anything that you think might get picked up?
I'd like to dream of Ross's goal, but I don't know. It's easy to say things like that, and then of course it never happens. There's not been a black duck for a while. If you're going to go bold,
yeah, that seems like a good bold shout.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Right, well, we'll pass on to Jacob to see what his thoughts are for the wider competition and for Spurn. Even if it's not your Patchwork Challenge, Patch, what do you reckon you're going to get this month, Jacob?
So for Spurn, it's always a funny month, this February, but like a slab grebe would be nice. I've only seen one of them here before. So something on the sea, probably be like a white winger or a slav. That'd be nice. But then for Patchwork Challenge, I'm thinking like a yank gull. I'm thinking like Glaucus wing or something like that. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, that's not a bad shout.
Some just a weird gull of some description, because always gull surveys going on at the moment, isn't there? So I reckon it'd be picked up.
Well, I think I'm gonna jump in here, and I made a shout to Pete when we were out doing the bird race at the beginning of January for Yorkshire on Pete's patch, and I said black-tailed gull. So
yeah,
that's
just mental gull from somewhere in the world.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to drop for this month. Ryan, what are you going to find?
Not much. Dirty nappies and puke probably, but yeah. No, well, last February was good for gulls in my patch. Cumulin's gull, lots of glocks, and because February down here is ploughing month, so all the fields are just filled with gulls. So I was going to say a gull, but you've all done that, so I have to think of something different. But February's crap. I'm going to find a little bunting on my patch because there's lots around, so one's going to creep onto my patch, and nationally there's going to be some other rare bunting that I can't even think of at the moment. Blackface bunting is going to be on a patch somewhere.
Well done. You've hit the randomizer and come out with blackface bunting.
Yeah, another wrong prediction.
Good stuff. And Pete, to finish this up.
Jacob stole my thunder a little bit. Glaucus wing gull was going to be my prediction for somewhere on a patch in February. It's been a while since there's been one in the UK, and I think it's probably a reasonable candidate to turn up somewhere. And then in terms of my own patch, in terms of my coastal one, I'd quite like to get something on the sea, rare grebes, and the rarer divers. So black-throated diver would be nice. Slav grebe, similarly to Jacob, actually would be nice as well, because I've not had any of those, and they tend to go to like red car area where you get sort of quite big gatherings of sea ducks, and they don't come down to my patch very often into the bays there. So yeah, something like that be very welcome in February, because it'll be more difficult later on.
Oh, good luck. Good luck. Right. Well, I think that's our predictions done. Please, as I said at the front end, please do like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That really helps us, and hit the notification bell to get the latest episode.
And a
Right.
massive thank you to everybody who entered in 2023 and got the revival of Patchwork Challenge going to a good start.
I forget that we did this as a bit of a laugh, and it's spun out into a real success. So thank you, echoing Pete's thoughts. Yeah, we weren't quite sure how this was going to work, but it's been a big success from our point of view. So thank you, everyone, for taking part. Right. On that note, I think we should all probably go to bed because it's quite late.